All I do is smoke trees, call me loud, yeah. I'm butter on the bread like part cake. And I am all about me like 𝔬𝔬𝔲𝔢𝔬𝔬𝔲. I'm in the hood like 𝔬𝔬𝔲𝔢𝔬𝔲.
My name's Dr. Andrew, better known as Kingpin or Andrew. eBay's a funny place. eBay's a funny place. I'm about to tell you why in this video. My experience with eBay over the last 4 weeks has been hell. Trying to sell my Xbox One that I had for 4 years. Tried selling it to a guy in Ireland. Successfully, he bought it. But then we came to find out that it would take 2 months to get there for the price that he paid for shipping. And if he wanted to pay $100 more, which was double what he paid for shipping, he would have got it in the amount of time that we thought it was going to get there for the amount that he paid, which was like close to $100, which is already overpriced. So we canceled the order, and he's currently being issued a refund. But the next, we just put the box back on sale right away after that transaction was canceled, and selling it for around the same price, but this time taking international shipping off. If that's what it's going to cost for international shipping, then I can't really make any money off it, because I got to pay that whole amount to ship it out, and that's going to come off of what I make toward the box to begin with, because people are just not going to pay $200 for shipping for an Xbox internationally. So it was just dealt to Canada and the US only were able to purchase it. And this time I was pretty confident, since it's a common item, it's not it's not like a rare item. Its price is pretty steady, $120, $150 plus shipping. So if I can get around $200 for it, I would have been satisfied. And the gentleman that ended up buying it after the 3-day sale was actually from Canada, over in Quebec. However, it wasn't a genuine transaction. He tried to rip me off. And I knew this. He started corresponding with me immediately after I factory reset the Xbox. He paid. I put it in bubble wrap. I put it in a box, and I handed it over to Canada Post for like $45, which is still a lot, For 5 to 7 day shipping, it's still a lot of money. So we popped it over there. He got it. The second he gets it out of the box, he's texting me saying, it doesn't, something about the HDMI plug. He said, this HDMI cord doesn't seem to be working too well. He said, do you know what might be the issue with that? And I said, have you tried plugging it into the right jack? And have you tried turning the correct setting on your device that you're porting it into? And he said, I have one of these Xboxes. I've done this before. It should be working right now, blah, blah, blah. And I already knew he was bullshitting me, because we just tested it like the day before I shipped it out. And it had never had a problem with the HDMI plug ever. And he was telling me it doesn't look like it looked in the picture. And I'm like, you're so far up shit creek without a paddle right now, man. You're swimming in shit. And he says, I want a refund. I said, you're not getting a refund. I said, there's no evidence to suggest that there's anything wrong with the Xbox I sent you. There was nothing wrong with it before I shipped it. There was no interruptions during shipping. No reports that it was damaged during shipping. So unless between the time you took it out of the box to now it got damaged, you're lying to me. And that's not cool. You know, I understand that things happen, but there's no way that anything could happen to it. It was bubble wrapped, it was sealed, it was shipped, and there was no damage reported to the box during shipping. So I knew to challenge him right away, and I wasn't going to give him any money back. I already got his money in my bank account anyways, so the only way he'd be getting it back is if eBay refunded the transfer somehow by supporting his claim instead of supporting my claim. So he opens up a return request, to which I instantly decline. I instantly write him a message and say, there's no refund being issued here. No refunds were listed in the item description, and you're not getting anything. And I thought I had a right to do that, but 3 days later, after he failed to reply to the message of the claim that he opened up, after bombarding me with about 10 messages in an hour when he got the item, it gave me an option to ask eBay to step in, which is exactly what I did. Because I'm not pussyfooting around here, I'm not playing no games, so I told him exactly this. I have the message history right here. So the buyer requested a return. Why the HDMI plug is broken. I said, the item is in working condition and we already stated in the item description, no refunds, item is sold as is. And then no reply, so I said to eBay on April 29th, I would just like some reassurance that the buyer is not going to receive any type of refund here. We let them know that the item had nothing wrong with it and that their claim is fraudulent. To which they replied at that point with a refund claim. To which they were given the same message with no response for 3 days. Would like to close this file, please. Now, something interesting happened after I sent them that message. About an hour later, eBay sends me a message in French, of all things, in French, which I had to translate on the internet, which stated, you are required by law if the buyer requests a return for an item, to refund the item in full. You're either to reach an agreement with them, or eBay can basically step in if they ask eBay to step in and just refund your item in full. No, and they don't have to ship it back or anything like that. So the buyer is stuck. Not only the shipping cost, but the cost of the item and the item itself. So if it's actually a legit transaction like mine was, it's going to cost me an arm and a leg, because that's not the type of funding that I have to be giving away or being ripped off. So I went on and I checked the eBay buyer protection policy, and it seemed a little hypocritical, honestly, the way they were messaging me, saying, the way it's looking right now, and I know this is not the message you were expecting, but basically they were saying the buyer is protected. They've without any sort of evidence to suggest that the buyer was being honest with everybody, that just basically saying, oh, because they asked for a refund, they're entitled to a refund and you have to give them a refund, or we'll step in if they ask and we will tell you to give them a refund. No questions asked. And I'm thinking to myself, well, how does that protect the seller? Because I've just sold this person a legit item at a good price, like a legit price, and they got their item, and we know it wasn't damaged between the time it got from me to them. Now, if we look from an outside perspective, nobody truly knows that, obviously, but that's where I got a little confused, because you'll see where I'm going with this here in a minute. I'm just off on a tangent right now because my mind was spinning. at this point in time trying to determine how they would, because I sent pictures of what it looked like. I sent exact images of what it looked like before mailing it. Which again, I guess everything could technically be changed around if they really wanted to scam me, which is why I was so hesitant to do it in the first place. With such a low rep. I have a 57 rep on eBay. I've never sold anything with this account before. The last account I had, all of my sales went without a hitch. And then I lost the passcode and I could never get it back, so I had to make a new account. Because I couldn't get into the email to recover the password. So, needless to say, I lost my train of thought here. It's such a frustrating situation. Just because it's like I'm powerless now, knowing that this person's basically going to try and take advantage of me and try and take advantage of eBay. And eBay is going to support this claim according to this email that I've received in response to this whack job's feeble attempt at stealing from me. So basically, to sum up their stupid message that eBay sent me back in response to that, they said, you have to work out, since they've requested a refund. Yeah, so they're saying you have to work something out with the buyer simply because of the fact that they've requested a refund. Or we'll step in if they ask, and we'll just straight up ask you to issue them a refund. Like basically saying that they don't ask any questions, they don't take anything into consideration. It's just basically almost like I felt like I was being challenged not only by the buyer, but by eBay as well. So I replied basically at that point feeling forced to work something out with the buyer, who hadn't responded to me now in 3 days. I says, you can have a refund if you ship me the item back in the condition that it was shipped to you in, and minus what I paid to ship it to you. So you pay for shipping it to me, and you don't get that money back, and you can have a refund on what you paid for the item. So the exact claim details stated such as this, where I messaged this gentleman, this thief, this con artist. I said to him, at that point, feeling like I had my hands tied, if you would like to ship the item back to us, we will refund you the cost of the item, what it cost to ship initially, which was about $45 Canadian. If that's something you would like to do, just let me know, and we can send you our PO box mailing address. You will be issued the refund upon the item returning in the condition it left herein. Sending tracking information is a must also, so we know when we can expect it. Then I get a message from eBay after my walk, about an hour later, an hour and a half later. It says the case is now closed. And I'm like, the case is now closed? Just 2 seconds ago they were telling me I had to do this and I had to do that. And now my eBay just signed me out. That's never happened before. So they said here that this happened The buyer returned the item without authorization. I have no fucking idea what that means. And did not provide tracking information for the return. You don't need anything else. You don't need to do anything else. If you're not satisfied with this outcome, you can send us an appeal. Well, obviously, I'm not going to be unsatisfied. They gave me what I wanted, and I don't have to send them any money. So I also went ahead before, and I went onto his account, and I was the only one that had the balls. He's probably done this to other people too. No, but I was the only one that had the balls to actually call him on his bluff. Little snake. And I left him some feedback. I said, this person claimed their item was damaged upon arrival when really it wasn't. That was before the case was closed. I already knew that he was bullshitting me. It was such a small chance of that HDMI plug, which is the actual port that you plug the plug into, and the Xbox was broken. It was working perfectly fine before I shipped it to him. Everything was working perfectly fine for 4 years before I sold the thing, and it was factory reset. He got a brand new Xbox, and they're telling me eBay's basically trying to intimidate me with their initial message, and then an hour later saying to me, these are not automated messages either. These are real agents messaging me. And then it's telling me that the case has been, they're messaging me in French. I know how to read French. And then they've just said, we have reviewed this case and closed it without any refund to the buyer. The case will not affect your seller performance. And I'm thinking to myself, this is great, but how does this all tie in with that previous message plus the buyer guarantee, which pretty much says the buyer is entitled to do whatever they want, and then in this message it's just no evidence. The buyer didn't return the item. They returned the item without authorization, and they did not provide tracking information. That means nothing to me. That means nothing to me. I want more money because I just wasted 5 days and 13 hours on battling this fucking asshole and trying to get him to stop hounding me for more than he bargained for. And eBay's starting to, eBay was then on my ass too, who the hell are these people? Who the hell are these people to be treating people as, to be treating people that way? Sending messages in French, how the fuck am I supposed to read that shit? I'm not French. I never did nothing in French. Do you ever see that guy on your orders from Quebec? Cancel the order. He's a snake. He's a con artist. Oh, his address too. Oh, and if you want his phone number, it's 8. Maybe you can, chat him up and tell him what an ass he is. If you have any interest in doing that. I won't be wasting any more time on this scum-sucking scoundrel. And how many times he messaged me saying, he laughed too, and I knew he was still bullshitting me when he laughed, because when I told him, I was like, you're not getting a refund, son. I said no refunds on the thing, because I know the Xbox is in the condition that I said it was in, and I'm going to make sure that it gets to the person that buys it in that condition. not getting a refund. And he goes, haha, well now I know why. And I'm like, obviously, because you're a fucking douchebag. Some people are just dickheads, man. I'm not selling on eBay no more. That's bullshit, man. That pretty much discouraged me from all selling on eBay, though, like, really. Anyways, I got to go. I'm very satisfied. We literally just got that message in as we were doing the video. Very unexpected. But that's $210 in my pocket, plus a headache. A really bad 5-day and 13-hour headache. And I'm not dealing with that person anymore. So, yeah. And I'm not too happy about that, obviously. I'm visibly not too happy about that. He makes a fraudulent claim and nothing happens. It's just like, oh yeah, you know, people can just file for fraud. No problem on eBay. As long as you're the buyer, you know what I mean? Like, what a fucking joke, man. I'm getting out of here. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Share the video. Let people know that they do not have to just give in to buyers' vicious demands and lies and manipulation. You can go through a litigation process, which is what I did there. It doesn't take too long. And honestly, I think that eBay was just testing me, just to see if I would offer something back, like, you know, basically canceling the deal. And they knew that he wouldn't. I think they knew that he wouldn't return the item. He just wanted to see if he could get both the item and the money. They knew that. I knew that. They wouldn't tell me that. He wouldn't tell me that. Why would anybody tell me anything? They were all at the same time trying to make sure that I wasn't ripping them off. Which obviously I wasn't. But anyways, yeah, so I guess we'll end the video there. And hopefully this doesn't happen to you. But if it does, now you know that there is a process that you can go through. You're not totally fucked. That's the message that I can get out there today. You're not totally fucked. And I'm getting out of here for now. You're not totally fucked.